Jerry, don't even think about it! Jerry!
I told you I heard someone!
Okay, you know the part in scary movies where somebody does something really stupid and everybody hates them for it? This is it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And I just realized that was a really mumbly
yeah,
intro.
I heard something, but I was like, whatever. Honestly,
So, like,
what are you gonna do?
Like, here's the thing. If this is the first time ever listening to us, so sorry, I guess you'll just have to listen to another episode to figure out what I was saying.
If this is your first time ever listening to us, that's pretty par for the course. We're just gonna power through it.
Sydney nails it 99.9% of the time.
That's true, but the mumbling is it's baked in
a little bit. Yeah. But this week, along with the mumbling, we're going back to some jaunty tunes, which I think is supposed to be an endearing, lovely, romantic song, but is just a very creepy song. And the song, like the movie we're covering, is called Jeepers Creepers.
Honestly, I know you told me when we introduced this movie at the end of last week's episode, you started singing it, and I went, "Oh, is that from this movie?" And then when I was watching this movie, I was like, "Was this written for this movie? Is this a real song?"
No,
it's
a real
song. Yeah. Oh no,
I got really thrown off for a moment there.
I was talking to my dad and I was trying to come up with something to talk to him about. And I was like, I watched a movie last night called Jeepers Creepers and it's based off of that song. And he's like, yes, that was a great hit.
Oh.
There you go.
The people loved it.
He's an older gentleman.
If a man referred to my eyeballs as peepers, if he was just like, Jeepers Creepers, you've got some beautiful peepers, I would be like, lawsuit, stay away from me. I don't trust you.
If he said, if you've got some beautiful peepers, I think I'd be like, shucks, thanks.
No,
but if
because
he said, where do you get those peepers? I'd be like, uh-oh.
No, because I would immediately
assume
the
store
that he, like the creeper in this movie, is going to steal my eyeballs because he thinks they're so beautiful. That would just be my first assumption right out of the gate. Okay,
I mean, it's just the cheesiest fucking song ever, you know. But the word peeper itself doesn't bother me because I have old parents, and so I'm prone to say old timey phrases, and so I like that a little bit.
I don't. When I think of peeper, I think of like peeping Tom, and it just is a bad thing, you know?
Fair. It's a fair connection there.
But if you, lovely listener, don't know what Jeepers Creeper is, here's your IMDb tagline, and it is a brother and sister driving home through isolated countryside for spring break. Encounter a flesh-eating creature, which is in the midst of a ritualistic eating spree.
God, wow. What a beautiful sentence. God.
I just got a glimpse of that log line before I watched the movie because I wanted to see how long the movie was before I started.
Oh, it's a tight 90.
It's a tight 90, which is nice.
Love.
But I saw flesh eating and I went, oh, that's why I associate this movie with Cabin Fever and I think of them as the same thing. That really misled me for what I was getting into.
Yeah, it's not like that at all.
I came in with all kinds of wrong ideas.
It's not like that at all. I came into this movie knowing that I hadn't seen it before, but having Adam swear to Jesus that we had watched it together before. He's like, we watched this. He sweared to Jeepers, Jeebus above, that we had watched this movie. And I can tell you right now, I had never seen this fucking movie before because I was guffawing. I was in shock the whole time.
Guffawing? That's right.
Guffawing. I was guffawing left and right.
That's the right reaction.
I definitely remember watching this movie in like middle school and it being like a huge thing that all the kids were just like all about. Like in 6th grade, everybody was like, "Oh my
I
God,
could see
did
that.
you see this?" But I
I do feel middle schoolers would go crazy for it.
middle
Uh-huh.
schoolers went insane for this. And I remember going insane for this, but I don't think I have watched this movie since like 2002.
Sure.
I don't think it holds up like middle school me would have wanted it to.
Oh no, damn, too bad. I had a really, really fun time with this because my expectations were on the floor. Like I expected it to be like pretty bad, and I thought it was like pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, just get this out of the way from the beginning. I knew nothing about this movie coming in except Justin Long was in it. And when I went to look it up, I was like, why can't I find this like anywhere? Why is this only on like Tubi and Freevee? How weird. And then I found out it's because the director, may he not be named, is a horrible pedophile. And that's all we'll say. He sucks. Fuck him. But this movie is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they let him keep making more, so I don't know how much of a barrier that really was, as it turns out.
Yeah, fuck
But not
him.
ideal either way, especially I never mind, I'm gonna change the subject. But yeah, this is well, you can cut this part out, but I was just gonna say really unfortunate that it was so popular with the middle school set, considering.
Right.
Oh God, no!
We're keeping that
You
in.
can, no, you can cut that out.
No,
You
you
can
gotta
cut
cut
that out.
You gotta cut that out. Oh God. Oh Jesus Christ. Okay. Though also though, the reason that we did this movie is because we were literally recording with Lauren last episode and we're like, fuck, we have no idea what to do next week. And we just looked up spring break movies. And this is like the only reason that you know it's spring break is because they say one word about it in the beginning. And so that's why. In case you want to know what we think about. Usually it's very planned out. Of course, we plan for
It is
years
also
and
very
years.
planned out with the very carefully picked through line of the rats in the subway from Cloverfield to the rats in the pipe here. I think
Oh
we
my
did that on
God.
purpose and we
Yes,
knew
of
somehow.
course. This
did.
is not the first time that I thought of that at all. No.
Rats
I've
beget
been
a
thinking
little
about that
creature.
forever.
Am I right? Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, one thing I will give this movie is the cast is sexy. And by that I mean Gina Phillips, who plays Trish, and Justin Long, who plays Derry, are both very sexy in this. And this is the cutest I've ever seen Justin Long. Oh my God.
he was
little
baby.
baby.
This is his like first horror movie
yeah.
that he ever
I think it
did.
was his first feature film, also. But
Yeah.
I'm
This
not,
like
that could be
launched
wrong.
him.
He's like 22. He was baby.
He was just born.
That's baby.
That's
And
my
then
baby.
Trish was like 30 years old. So
Yeah.
I mean, she was
She's-
the older sister, though. I think that's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
they're-
Hollywood.
both supposed to be in college, but whatever, that's fine. Like you, I didn't
Listen,
think.
College can take a really long time for some people to graduate, okay?
That's
Exactly.
true.
Like, we are not
Exactly.
discriminating.
Also, I'll have you know that I've just turned 30, and also I just bought a laptop, and they believed that I was the same bitch as my freshman year college ID. So I got the student discount. They're like, oh, it's believable, but that it's within 4 years that you looked like that tiny little infant baby. So
Love
I'm
a
30.
good scam.
it makes sense. It can still
Admitting
happen.
to
It
her
happened to
crimes on the
Trish. It's
record.
happening to me. They're not gonna take away my $200 off. So
Apple's
come
gonna
on.
come to
Let
your
them fucking
home.
try.
Excuse me, ma'am. You said you were a college freshman?
All they
Okay,
asked
but-
for was an ID, and I could produce that. So they should make
How
stuff
do
for me.
I get a fake like college student ID just so I can get discounts on everything?
We'll scan my old ID and then swap out the photos like they do in crime movies or whatever, heist movies.
We'll do a Xerox of it and then
Yeah.
we'll cut out a tiny little photo.
I'll make a painting, a very detailed painting that looks exactly like the ID, and we'll glue your picture on. I think that should work. And we'll
Beautiful.
laminate it. That always makes it look official if you laminate it.
I think.
This movie though, at first I was watching this with Adam and he was like, there's vibes between Trish and Derry, even though they're brother and sister. And I disagreed. I don't think this is like House of Wax. I think maybe a little bit at the beginning, but then they do a good job of being absolutely horrible dicks to each other. And so I believed that they were siblings. But also, I'm an only child. So people with siblings, please weigh in.
I mean, my brother and I have been confused for a couple by people we met for the first time because we don't look that
Horrifying.
much alike. It's not really that big of a deal because you just go, that is not the case, and then you move on. But I think the chemistry between the actors was not super like sibling-y, but the script was very sibling-y. So like I think
Okay, fair.
it was like the lines and everything was giving very much sibling. It's just kind of their inherent chemistry together as actors was maybe giving a little something else.
Mm,
But what are you gonna do?
okay.
I mean, they were both good at their
They're
roles.
both
so.
hot and they're near each other. What are you gonna do?
What are you
I
gonna
wasn't,
do?
like, I didn't want them to kiss. You know what I mean?
No.
There were just some moments where I was like, I don't know.
There are too many other things to think about than them kissing for me. I was taken aback by.
There's a lot going on.
Oh
There's
man.
also
Okay.
simultaneously not that much going on. Like this is a very streamlined plot for the most part.
I appreciate
really
it. That was
anything
simple for my
extraneous.
little brain.
Here's
Sure.
the thing.
To
The
handle.
whole plot of this movie is just the siblings standing around and gawking in different locations throughout this small back town, like county in Florida. Like that's
Yes.
it. They just put their nose in businesses that they should not be in and stand around
my
and
God.
don't do anything.
Yeah. Oh my god. Talk about having like the worst timing ever though. Like the 1 second you're passing that fucking church is the 1 second that there's an ancient being dumping bodies into a pipe right there. Like, oh my god, that sucks. That really sucks. But if Justin Long hadn't decided to be a fucking hero, none of this shit would have happened.
He didn't even decide to be a hero. He just decided that he definitely had what it took, which is not accurate. Because what were you going? Like his whole thing was like, what if we drive away and then we find out there's something we could have done? What could you possibly have done? There's nothing you could have done.
You couldn't even get out of that hole.
Yes,
Well, he did, but it took him a while.
All you had to do was like keep driving, find a go to the largest small town cop station in the United States, where they have their own weird SWAT team. No small county police officer has more than 2 police officers on duty at any given time.
They had so many at that station.
There was so many.
That was insane.
They had an 1199 or whatever it was. So
I am from
maybe
a
that
teeny
means
tiny
somebody
town.
loves
That is not
it.
how this works. But all you had to do was keep going and be like, hey, you know that church? Of course you do. It's a small town. Go there. Something suspicious is happening.
Yes, and wipe your hands of it. Don't you're 22-year-old fuck boy. Okay, you're not gonna save that bloodied corpse. Like it's already bloodied.
It's already a corpse.
His whole logic was very much resting on the idea that there was something that he and he alone could do. And he's not a doctor, and as far as I know, he's not a pre-med student even or anything like that.
He's not giving a pre-med vibe for sure.
Yeah, if they were in need of serious medical attention, the fastest thing to do would actually be to keep driving until you got to a phone and could call someone, because if someone down there needs serious help, you're going to have to find a way back out and then drive to a phone anyway. And if they don't need serious help, then you don't need to be getting down there with them right away. They're going to either find their own way out, or you could still get a police officer to bring a ladder or something.
So fucking stupid. Oh my god. It was so stupid. He's so pretty, but he's so dumb. There's nothing in there. There's nothing
He
up
had
there.
a beautiful spirit. His sister was right. He wanted a little adventure. He did not actually want to be helpful.
Seriously.
So the game that they're playing at the very beginning with the license plates,
Uh-huh.
the big evil truck that the creeper is driving has
Okay, forever.
one.
Oh, sorry.
No, the other that was
Big game forever.
right. That would be our personalized license
Yes.
plates that we
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
driving
yeah,
around
yeah,
Small
yeah.
Town Florida with.
Of course. With the Spooky Tuesday license plate cover that I
Right.
gonna manifest.
But what did it say? Like he thought it was like beating you.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, it's be eating you.
Be eating you.
Which, like, I have so many questions about, like, how did this creeper get a customized license
A
plate?
vanity plate. He
was
is
alive
an
for-
appreciator of human knickknacks, frankly.
He
He
was
loves
alive.
a record.
He was up out of the earth for 23 days at one point 23 years ago. And he spent one of those days at the DMV the whole day.
But
And then he ate every bitch at the DMV at the end.
he was like, I'm tired of standing this line. You're all getting eaten.
Well, maybe
Or
he took that truck off of one of his victims and it previously was beating you. And then he said, actually, this is
this
perfect
works
for
for
me. This actually, to me, be eating you. And I need it.
I totally understand your perspective, Sydney, where this doesn't like hold up because like it is kind of bad, but it's bad in the fucking funniest way to me that makes me love it, which is now I feel bad loving it. But like there's just oh my god, like the fact that they set up this entire premise of this entire movie, it's called Jeepers Creepers. Based on the song Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those eyes? And it's all a setup for one joke at the end. Like the whole movie is a setup for one joke at the end. That's the type of thing that I really like. But also
really
something
commit
that
to the bit.
I love that. I love that song also, and I'll be singing it later on in the episode. As my redemption. Also, shout out to Claire. Sorry that I accidentally yelled at you on the pod. She's the one who said that Chelsea's the singer of the pod.
And she
And
was,
I was
right.
like, I was like, come fight me in the comments. And then it was our beloved listener, Claire.
We love you.
She messaged and she was like, "Oh, that was me. I'm really sorry." And I was like, "No, don't apologize."
Claire,
Don't
never apologize to us.
Never
Right.
apologize. Your opinions are valid. If it was somebody else, though, it wouldn't be valid. But because it's you. But anyway. But like other things about this movie that I love so much, I fucking loved the fucking lair, man. I loved his fucking lair. It was so cool and so disturbing. Like, he goes down the hole. There's rats. Do we need to talk about there's rats? This is the through line. There are rats and they scare everyone, and that's how he falls in the hole. It's so dumb.
He
It's
was
like
going to fall
slapstick.
anyway. He was
Yeah.
bound to fall.
He
That
is
hole was
down.
very steep. And he was like, I'm just going to crawl in a little bit. I don't think he knew what he was getting in for.
No, that's very
Like he
clear.
thought
He's an
that
idiot.
through.
Yeah, he's an idiot. But like, imagine one other thing I really liked is that when he realized that he was right, and in fact there were people that were still sort of alive and down there, he was so unhappy. He was like, "Oh fuck." Like he had no fucking clue what to do, and they just died anyway. But I love that this creature, they call him the Creeper. But may I propose something to you? You don't have to follow suit. I'm going to call him Jeeper the whole rest of the episode because I think that's really funny and it made me laugh really hard earlier today. I think his name is Jeeper. It's better than the Creeper that's 2 on the nose, It's
Well, and
already
it's
weird.
Jeeper
also-
the Creeper.
It's also very Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
One of the most iconic classic Scooby-Doo is the Creeper.
I know. But this is Jeeper, also known as the Creeper, for me at
Jeeper
least.
the Creeper.
But Jeeper's lair, okay? That man has an eye for interior design. Just absolutely beautiful. And Sydney, he is a human taxidermist. Don't you like
I
that?
know. Here's the thing. I do love his interior design skills. So I will give him props for that. And that I am jealous that if I did that to my house, I would probably be put in jail and committed. And
You
then
would definitely, yeah.
You would deserve it.
You would deserve that, yeah. I'm
not
sorry.
if
If they're
I
humans,
had ethically sourced.
Ethically
Body.
sourced cadavers
got-
donated to human home decor.
you go
Here's the
into
thing.
Sydney's fucking house and it's like that the bodies exhibit that's at the science
I would
center,
love that.
where they
That was one of
actually
my
stole-
favorite things.
That's what happens. You walk into Sydney's house, you see that shit, she goes to jail.
I need you to change whatever living will you have and say I want to
Mm.
donate my body to Sydney for
No,
arts
I
and
don't think
crafts.
I want to do that. But if you were to make a cast of my body while I'm alive, if you were to cast my
Sexy.
body and then
Ooh.
make a fake body, that would be okay with me.
yeah,
And
if
you could
wanna
have
make a
45 of
wax
them then
figure
to
of
really
me,
cover the ceiling. What if it was a bunch of Chelsea and Monica's?
that would be amazing.
love
I'm
that.
willing to lay down in a vat of wax. How did you make a cast of you?
Wax.
Make a wax
Silicone.
version of me, a la House
No,
of Wax.
I feel like the
It would be
wax would
silicone.
not be. Yeah, you would want something a little different, I think, for home decor. But I think if you cast our bodies every year, then you'd have a bunch of slightly different ones, and then you could over
Ooh.
time really build up that collection. I think that'd be you could
It's
do. You have my
honestly-
consent for that.
I'm gonna have like a weird shed in my backyard, and it'll just be like the weird body
Oh, a
shed.
shed would be good because then less surface area to cover.
But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
imagine my poor future children, where I'm like, go out to shed
Can you guys
4.
go to the Chelsea
get
Monica
that
shed
big,
and,
and it's just
bring the
weird
plant seeds
pics of
inside?
y'all.
Yeah.
And could you
Well-
imagine their poor little friends coming over to the house,
Oh,
be
you
like,
They
"We gotta
like
go plant
it.
4."
No
Little
one would
kids are
let
freaks.
no one would let their kids come over to your house. Once that came out, no one would let your kid have friends, unfortunately. But okay, I just solved it. You should use rubber because the bodies looked rubbery in this because of like formaldehyde. I don't fucking know. I don't do that. Okay, I let the professionals embalm the bodies.
I'm just
But
gonna
think
do
they were,
like,
like,
if you
coated
made a
in resin,
rubber
Justin
cast
Long
of us,
said.
then you could sew us together real easy.
Yeah.
Wear
Love
Anyway,
it.
we
it
have one more
is
thing to say
cool.
about it.
Okay.
I'm mad that you didn't do this my whole childhood, so you had my like love, like me growing up to become
blame your
my
parents.
friend
They
Monica.
should have known.
Now you're gonna have
like
aging
marking your
Monica, and I
height
don't
on
like
the
that as
laundry
much.
room wall.
Yeah, we can talk about the movie again now, but I had to say that.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Speaking of the movie and true crime,
Mm.
so the director that we shall not be naming says that this is like a 100% like completely original idea, but he's
That's
lying.
literally it's so much it. Are you kidding me?
No, he's
He
literally
would lie
lying.
and be a liar and a piece of shit.
No. So we get there where like the shitty truck is like angrily chasing them, right? Like multiple
It is very
times.
angry.
Mhm.
It
And
feels like
then-
the truck is alive. It's so scary.
It is. I feel like the truck is an entity and it's not driven by the creeper. It is just like its own sentient being.
the creeper's desires.
Exactly. But then, you know, they see the creeper like dumping a body behind the church. So in the 90s, there was a man called Dennis Depew who murdered his wife, R.I.P. Marilyn. And he was in a car. This couple like saw him dump a body behind an old schoolhouse. And so they like went back to check it, and he also like road raged them. And then he like disappeared. He like changed like all the license plates and stuff. Like they couldn't find him. And then one day, years later,
Ooh.
they talked about his case on Unsolved Mysteries, and he had a new girlfriend at the time, and he like was stalling her and was like, oh, blah 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 blah, and then he like dipped, and her friend, like, so she didn't see the episode. He was like, you can't watch this. I was like, why didn't you just turn off the TV, do something
Why
else?
didn't you just have a girlfriend who doesn't like true crime?
But then her friends and like people in the neighborhood called into Unsolved Mysteries and they tracked him down, and he ended up unaliving himself. And so he was the first person to like be hunted down by Unsolved Mysteries to unalive themselves.
Oh my god.
All
Well,
right.
that is historic. Oh god.
Dennis Depew, baby.
Wow.
But
Okay,
it's
so what
literally
I'm hearing
So
is
identical
that
to the opening of this movie.
what I'm hearing is that this movie is one true crime
First.
story, one plot of Stephen King's It, and one song called Jeepers Creepers.
Yes,
And
that's the only thing
not
this
much
movie
else.
is.
And executive produced by Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh no.
I know. I know. Francis, you gotta choose some better friends, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I think the It thing was definitely a purposeful homage, or they wouldn't have named him Derry.
Right?
Literally
Oh
named
my
him
god,
Derry.
yeah.
That said, it was very, very similar. Like, really didn't diverge that much from the lore. It was like the every however many years. I think it's like 27 years maybe in It.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's 23 years here for 23 days. But like the people in the lair is very much like the people floating in the lair in It. There's like the big pipe,
Yeah.
just like how the pipe is very relevant and the sewer is very relevant in It. There is like the smelling fear aspect of it. That's
So
it.
true.
It's a lot. It's a lot of overlap. It's a lot for an homage.
Yeah, no, that's super on the nose. I do like what the creep. I like what Jeeper
What
excuse
Jeeper the
me,
Creeper?
is. No, just Jeeper. I'm on a first name basis with him. Okay,
G?
You guys are tight.
with Jeepy boy. I like his whole like look. And that he ends up. Spoiler alert for It. If you don't know things about It, turn off your ears. That he's not a giant spider or like secretly or whatever the fuck. I still don't know what happened. I still don't
Crab?
understand.
Was he a crab?
It's like a crab spider thing from the beginning of time or something like similar to, the story with the turtle and California's on the back of
yeah.
the turtle. It's like that. Actually, a turtle is part of it.
It is.
It's been a while since I read the whole thing on it. But I like that this is a little simpler a little bit. I was talking to one of our listeners about it, and he was like, "Oh, he's sort of like a chimera." And I really liked that idea. Chimera is like this like mythology creature that's like part lion, part goat, part something, blah 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 blah. The butt of a goat, the head of a lion, blah, blah, that kind of shit, that kind of thing. So he's kind of like that, except I don't even know. I loved the creature design for this because I love that he like has fucking mandibles. I don't know. I love that he has mandibles and wings, and it's like
And,
so
like,
at the
gills?
last minute. Yeah, that you find out.
When I saw the monster, I was like, this has Monica written all
Oh,
over it.
thank you. Wow,
I did.
That
I
ma-
immediately
love
clocked
that.
it as, yes, Monica's perfect monster. Make Adam dress up as this
As
creeper
Jeeper?
for Halloween this year.
How do you feel about this? I don't know if this will hit the way that it hit for me. I've been watching a lot of Great British Baking Show lately, and so I've been in love with Noel, right? Fielding.
Yes.
And so I was revisiting the old Greg videos, and to me, Jeeper is old Greg. There are
That's
so
a bit-
many
yes.
I think
facial
probably
similarities.
His
They're
clothing is
so-
very old Greg.
Yeah. I think that's probably part of the inspo for old Greg because Jeeper came first.
Okay, but Monica,
Yes.
another Halloween suggestion for you is that you and Adam go as Noel and Sandy, but you are Noel and Adam is Sandy from Great British Bake Off.
Oh my god. Okay, I could be down. I would love to.
Adam has the
try.
hair. It's perfect.
And I have the chin. So and
Exactly, and the height.
funky clothes. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is a good idea. But I was doing some research on Jeeper himself
On
because
Jeeper.
of course I was, and I didn't find that beautiful like sort of thing that I described last episode, describing the inspo for every single part of the monster from Cloverfield. We don't have that detail here, but I do know things about him in the past, the Jeeper of the past. He at least was around during the time of the Aztecs. Good for him. He was actually maybe around since medieval times. He's been around for a very long time. And yes, he's been around since medieval times. I'm so sorry. This was confirmed in Creepers 2. And he also participated in some sort of human sacrifice during the time of the Aztecs. And it was actually, this is the funniest thing I read. The Jeeper himself was actually responsible for the infamous disappearance of settlers from America's Roanoke colony in the late 1500s.
Oh my god.
If there's a whole movie that's not directed by this director that's about is that what Roanoke, the American Horror Story season was
Yeah,
about? It's
it's
just
all about
Jeeper
Jeeper.
eating all
Right. I have a question though.
Yeah.
In relation to our boy Jeepy,
Yeah.
what does Croatoan mean?
That's his nickname.
I don't that's
That's what they called him before they called him Jeeper. They just called him Croatoan, which
He hadn't introduced himself yet because he needed
It was
to eat
before
a
the
pair of
song.
lips and a tongue
yes,
so that
of
he could be
course.
like, "Oh, excuse me."
exactly. And
That makes
and
sense.
it's also confirmed in a deleted scene he can speak English.
he has one line, and I don't remember what it was supposed
It's
to be.
in my notes. Let me find
But if you
it.
look
God.
closely, you can still see his mouth move. They just literally cut the audio.
Okay, the line
For the best.
is it's when he's at the cat lady's house and he's holding up the cat lady as though she's walking forward, but then he appears from the darkness and you see him as well holding her up, and he says, "She don't smell too good, Darius." I assume just like that. I assume that's the voice that he would use.
Yeah, no, that sounded like old
Um,
Greg, so
"We don't
that
smell too good, Darius."
I think he's supposed
Yeah.
to have a southern accent.
Okay,
It's
give me
he
a
lives in
you'll
Florida.
have to do that.
He don't look too good, does
Smell
he, Darius?
too good.
He don't smell too
He
good,
don't
does he,
smell
Darius?
too. Oh my god, we're gonna have to workshop
You know what?
this
The
together.
accent was beautiful though, and I really liked it. And I think if you guys work on that a little bit more,
Thank you. I just
there's
spent a
something
weekend with my
beautiful there.
extended family, so the accent can be on point.
She
oh
don't
my god!
smell too good, Darius. I don't know why.
And
he
they
would
call it
I
him
mean,
Darius. Oh,
yeah,
that's his
Riddle
real name.
very
Well,
straight. I mean,
yeah.
yes, it's on his underwear.
It is on
which
his underwear.
is a
The
choice.
panty sniffing was a
Um,
choice.
We didn't even see the panty sniffing, which is crazy. Would have loved to have seen it.
Implied panty
Panty
sniffing.
sniffing.
That's
I guess
said,
we
we
don't
do
kink
see-
shame, but
Well, we should.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, one of the things in this movie that a lot of people did comment on, allegedly, and then everybody involved went, "Actually, that's not a fetish or anything. That's just plot point." Is all the navel gazing, belly button focal points in this film, and his little rose tattoo around
I
his
thought that
belly
was
button.
so hot. I was
I
like,
know.
why
Also-
don't people have? Why don't boys have hot, sexy belly button tattoos? I've never heard of this in my life. I was like, wow, I need to know more about Derry immediately. Oh, the placement too. It's like the stem just sort of around his belly button. I was like, this is the last thing I could have ever expected. This is
It
just
really seems
shocking.
out of place for the character. Like, it doesn't seem like a choice that that character would make for their style.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would just love if he is the kind of person to have a rose tattoo on his belly button. I would have loved to have seen more floral influences in his style, maybe. I would have loved to see more tats on him, perhaps. I want to see if that's a character choice that is so focal that we showed it 47 times in the film and it was remarked upon more than once. I would have loved to seen it really followed through, you know?
I like that it doesn't make sense. I think
Sure.
that it's like, yes, there's so much you don't know about Derry. He's mysterious. He's mysterious and he's stupid. You know that he's stupid. Now you know he's mysterious. Oh my God.
Maybe he
Yeah.
was just really inspired. When did Seal's Kiss of a Rose song
Kiss
come
from a
out?
Rose. Probably
Oh.
before 2001.
Maybe he
Yeah.
was
It
It was
just
like,
like,
the 90s. I almost said basketball. Batman.
so
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that's where that stems from. Our daddy
Stems
Seal.
from
Young Derry was himself kissed by the rose. or from the
1994.
rose.
See, Derry was just like, Seal is a daddy, and I love this song, and therefore Rose
Sure.
belly button tattoo.
Since I can never sing this song in karaoke because it's the worst song to ever karaoke to ever know from experience, I will get it tattooed on me instead. I think that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, that
and it's
actually
no longer
tracks.
mysterious. We've actually destroyed the mystery now. Thanks, Chelsea.
Oh
Thank
my God, don't blame me.
It's all your
okay.
fault.
Something that I thought was really unexpected, but what's to expect from a movie with a Jeeper in it? I was like, oh, we have a psychic in the house with us tonight. Can you hear her? I was so thrown by that whole plot point, but I love that lady. I love her.
She's from
But, like,
Bones.
She's from
that-
Bones.
oh my God, I've only seen like one season. of
Cher?
Bones. But yeah, I just love they like get this phone call out of nowhere. And she's like, I saw the bodies on the ceiling. And he's like, what the fuck? That's the whole conversation.
She's
There's
got
no
good,
in-
very specific sight, frankly. She
Yeah.
saw the belly button tattoo. She saw the ceiling. She saw them at this gas station rest stop diner so that she knew to call the payphone there.
Yeah. It's she's a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, actually very psychic woman. But it was just so funny. It's just these things, they make it for me. Then we get a police chase and we get, I mean, these cops were being nice, for the most part. They were believing him, I think, a little bit, or at least
I think
looking
they
into
were
it.
maybe not believing him until the waitress was like, some creepy guy was just outside sniffing
Yes.
your undies.
Yes, yes. So once that happened, then everyone was nice. But even the sister wasn't fucking believing him. So I was like, if I had a sibling and they didn't believe that I saw a Sistine Chapel of dead bodies, and specifically the two people that were killed, like when I was a child, that was so crazy that I didn't understand what was happening. He saw the like school rings of two people in
Class of
The-
78.
Class of 78, and it was like the two people who went missing from a story that he was told as a kid. Is that what that
They're-
was?
Yeah.
It's like their local lore.
Legend.
Yeah.
Yes, their local legend. Oh, see, this movie's made for me. You know I love that shit. You listened to the Urban Legends episode, or you didn't, and now you're going to right after this. But like that, I love that shit. I love an urban legend come true. Or the explanation. It's been Jeeper all along. Maybe he's done all of the folklore in all of America. It's Jeeper every 23 years.
I do
With
wonder
the dog
how
under the bed
they
licking your hand.
stop. I hate that one.
It's Jeeper.
I do wonder how the lore got around that she lost her head when presumably Jeeper took everything with him. Especially because that was like the detail that seemed to really confirm for him that this is Darla and whoever that went missing all those years ago on prom night. But you know, I kind of don't care. None of this really needs to
It's
be
fine.
thought
It
through
doesn't
too
really-
hard. You know,
Yeah.
it's not that kind of film.
I'm not looking for that from this. I was just like, I accept.
Yeah.
I accept. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like cops getting wrecked, this is a great movie for you. If that's something that is something that you want, because these cops get fucking wrecked. I love the reveals they do in this movie. I know it's stupid, but like the reveal when Justin Long puts the flashlight in his armpit to like look at something, look at maybe the rings in the Sistine Chapel of Bodies. That's what we're calling it in Jeepers Lair. And you see all the bodies on the wall in the flashlight light, and you have like no idea what you're looking at. I thought that was a really cool reveal, and I also love the way they paced it, where like they're showing the sister and brother in the car, and it's like showing way too much of what's behind them, but you're not really paying attention until all of a sudden there's Jeeper baby on top of the car behind them. I just think they did a good job with the little subtle spookies.
Yeah. And there's that shot earlier where the sister is like waiting by the side of the road, ostensibly to
Yes.
flag someone
Oh,
down or to warn
that pissed
him
me
that
off.
be eating you is back. And like you see the headlights from very far away, and then as it gets like closer and closer, like they do a good job holding a shot and letting something like present itself to you over time. Like
Yes.
in the lair, the way that the light like slowly comes up,
Yes.
kind of sort of almost like as your eyes are adjusting to the darkness,
Totally.
where it reveals not just one body, not just two bodies, but a whole ceiling full of bodies. Like it's well done.
Chapel. Yeah.
Let the bodies
God.
hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
My God.
Let the bodies stay on the ceiling for decor purposes, Sydney. You don't want
He
those
worked
things
really
tumbling
hard
down.
on that. He worked so hard. But yeah, I mean the cops get fucking wrecked. We
I
get
don't
a
think it's
beheading.
500
A beheading.
or 600
Beheading.
bodies, though. I feel like that was a
Beheadings.
really bad estimation from.
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that was like
I
50,
actually,
you know?
I really related to that because I also like cannot gauge how much of anything are. And I used to work in concerts, so they'd be like, "How many people do you think are here?" And I'd be like, "Quite a few. I'll say that."
I'd say a lot, wouldn't you?
I'd say many. 100? They're like, "There's 1,000 people here," and I'm like, "Huh, that's interesting."
Sure.
Someone else can count. Don't they have a little clicker when you walk through the door? But yeah, and they ripped that other girl to shreds too. Poor thing. But I mean,
Oh, the cat
I
lady?
love no, not the cat lady, the other cop lady. She got it all destroyed too.
Oh, the way she gets yanked out the window.
Yeah, and I think their reveal of the creepers of Jeeper, excuse me, I'm so sorry, of Jeeper's face was pretty funny too. When he's like just sitting in the cop car, like he's a little cop, and then he comes out and he's like, "JK, I'm Jeeper." Remember that part when that one line he has where he says, "JK, I'm Jeeper."
Honestly, his
I love
best
that
line.
part. It was
I
really
do-
beautifully said.
Like, I'm glad that they cut that line. She don't smell too good, Darius, because like that would have been a very dumb line to be his one and only line. But if they had left a line in, I do like that it is after he ate the tongue out of the policeman's face. Because
Yes.
that's what Giselle says, you know, he eats lungs so that he can breathe. He eats eyes so that he can see. Like he eats,
Yes.
it's like the mummy. Like he eats the tongue
Yes.
so that he can speak.
It is like the Mummy. Great callback. We get a gay kiss in this movie though. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't gender Jeeper.
I
I
think
shouldn't
Jeepers,
gender
well,
Jeeper.
the movie gendered Jeeper because the director
gendered
really wanted
Jeeper.
him to have genitalia. So
God damn it. This guy fucking blew.
he didn't have genitalia. Instead, he had like a tuft of hair there instead. But
Do
the
we
director
see
really.
that?
I don't know, but that's what IMDb trivia said, that the
I was
director
like, why do
really
you know
wanted
so
there
much
to be
about his
genitalia.
private
I was peeping Jeeper. But they said in IMDb trivia that it was really important that it was like a male Jeeper, and he really wanted to do that, and lots of other producers basically had to pull him aside and be like, if he has dick and balls on screen, it's going to be very distracting to the audience. That's all they're going to focus on. Do you want people to
It's
be
rated R.
distracted from your movie because they can't look away from dick and
From his
balls? And so they
beautiful
workshopped it a
penis.
little, and instead I
Dick
guess
and
he
balls.
just has a big old bush. I don't know.
Well, we love bush
I
representation.
know you love a
We
bush.
do love a good bush
today.
representation.
die. I'm gonna die.
80s movies
Oh,
and Bush representation, which both go
yes.
hand in hand,
They
quite
really do go hand
frankly,
in
are
hand. You're
things we
right.
love here at Spooky Tuesday.
Sure.
Oh my god. But I mean, he just before you realize he's eaten that cop's tongue, he's really smooching him hardcore. He's smooching that decapitated head. And I was like, maybe all along he was looking for love. And then I was like, no, it was the tongue. Actually, it was the tongue.
I was
Kind
watching
of.
this part and I was like, that's gay. That's queer
Uh-huh.
representation.
I hate to change the subject, but I was just reading my notes and I
Mhm.
just thought this was pretty good. Remember at the church where the hole is, where the lair is underneath?
And the
There's
hole
a
in the
hole
layer.
in the floor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
And the
filled
green
with
grass
1,000
goes around and
bodies
around,
at
and
the
the green
bottom of
grass
the
goes
sea.
around. I like how we all immediately jumped.
It came together. It came together.
Oh, I really want to like figure out how it would work.
Do a TikTok.
Oh my god. Anyway, I
Wow,
won't try
I
to
know
work it
what
out
we're-
now for like 10 minutes.
I know what we're going to be doing this week.
But there's all those fucking crows outside of the house and they're all making like those weird noises and then the crows are like around like at the end too. And I have this like really important like kind of philosophical question that I asked here in my notes that I want to pose to you. Are the crows narcs?
I mean, all birds do work for the government, so yes.
Oh, really interesting point. Really interesting
Wow.
point,
Okay,
Sydney.
actually very fair. Very fair. I also asked I said they are little bitches. The crows are little bitches, which is pretty
Whoa, whoa,
mean
whoa.
of me as a birder. I'm so sorry. I
We-
think I was feeling hurt at that time. I don't know why I would say that.
Even though the crows work for the government and we don't like the government, crows are the shit. And so we will respect their authority. The
I just wasn't
only
sure.
authority that we will respect are the crows.
Sometimes people need to be tattled on.
I love all crows except these crows just seemed a little sus. I thought they were working with Jeeper. I just
I
thought
think
they
they're
were
working against
alerting
Jeeper.
Okay, good. Then I like
Here's
them
the
more.
thing. We love crow rights, but we also love crow wrongs. Okay.
Mhm.
Mm. I always forget that, and those are words to live by.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Jeeper has wings, and we know this about him, but they're more like bat wings. You know what I mean? They're not crow
Yeah.
wings, and I think that is purposeful. So I think the crow perhaps is his natural enemy.
Did Jeeper eat a big bat guy, and that's how he got those wings? Or does he innately have some of this shit? You know? Does he innately have the mandibles and the weird gills? Like, what is Jeeper, and what is his
At his
magic,
core?
and what is something that he ate? Well, I won't watch the sequel probably. Well, Lauren said the sequel's pretty good, so I might watch the sequel, but I won't watch the third one, and I certainly won't watch the fourth one. And that's a promise.
And that's a promise. Chelsea, you won't get it because I don't think you read these books, but Monica will. The A Court of Thorn and Roses, and
Yeah, Barry Thorn.
I was calling him Bat Boy all the whole time I was watching it, and I was like, is this what they look like? Is this what the Illyrians look like?
Oh
Is this-
my god. Wow.
It's Cassian.
Imagine. Wow, that's ruined everything for me. Cassian is just old Greg with wings.
Ew. It is interesting though that you're calling him Bat Boy and he has bat wings, and then Derry has his Kiss from a Rose tattoo, a song that was featured in Batman. I think
What does it
perhaps
mean?
that's why they have such a connection in this film. They're both appreciators.
Wow.
Smelled it on him.
Smelled it right on him. Man, I mean, this movie has a lot of things, but it also has 1,000 cats, and I think that that's really nice too. Like all the parts of this movie are insane, and then they're all together, and it's one movie. Like all separately, you'd be like, "What the fuck," and then all together, you're like, "What the fuck?" But for an hour and 30 minutes.
Apparently,
Really
though,
special.
the scarecrow that the cat lady has a cat head, which is fun. I didn't notice it, and I didn't go back to check, but that's what trivia told me.
I love that.
She loves the theme. She loves follow through. They had
I
real
love when
cats
she
there.
was like,
They put
she was
tuna
like,
on the
people had.
screen so the cats would come over to the screen and be like, meow, meow,
I love that even more.
I love that. They were like, people have died. We need to call the cops. And she's like, what? Who died? My babies? And they're like, no, people. And she was like, oh, I thought you meant my cats. I don't care. Like, essentially was the vibe. And I was like, this woman only cares about one thing, and that's important.
Cats.
It's too bad though that she got brutally murdered.
meow. Sure.
But she was
And
kind of
she was like the smartest one. She was like, I'm going to shoot this fucker immediately.
terrible.
She went on
You
swinging.
know,
But she had something in her. She was also a Batman fan.
what? Well, think about the destruction that Derry
was
wrought
Catwoman.
just by trying. Oh wow, the Batman
Wow.
connection is actually hugely, hugely huge.
And the cops are in Batman. I'm gonna keep thinking about this one. The couple at the beginning, that's Martha and what's the dad's name? Wayne, Mr.
don't
Wayne,
know.
Daddy
Wayne
Wayne.
Senior, Daddy Wayne. That is his name. Yeah. Yeah, then we get to like the final showdown, I guess, in the cop. Like, I don't even know. Was it a prison? Were they at a prison? Because there were a lot of inmates.
They're
there
literally
for,
just
like, a
at like
normal.
county jail, like for a small podunk Florida county jail.
There
I'm
were
so
like
sorry.
16 cops.
Here's the thing. That is more unbelievable than Jeeper Creeper himself, quite frankly.
Maybe it's a big county. Ho ho.
It is not a big county.
Apparently, he goes out of his way to mention it in all of his films.
Ho ho.
Yeah, I don't know if it's made up or whatever, but I think.
We
But
love
I'm
it.
no geographical expert. I haven't done the research.
Oh
But yeah,
man.
I mean,
Well,
that scene is so weird because Jeeper comes in and he starts feasting on inmates because he has to replace some of his body parts after Trish
Oh.
ran him over back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
That went on for a really long
Really long time.
A really long time. I liked it though. You know, though I loved Jeeper, I loved seeing him turn to dust. I love that he like turns to dust because he's using
Old?
old body parts
Yeah.
and he's old. And he just kind of crunches away. Doesn't make it nothing makes any sense in this, but that's fine. I accepted that long ago.
I think it's always interesting in horror movies when stuff like that happens not near the end, because if they don't kill him for sure and they just run away, it's like you have to make sure he's dead. But if they stay to try and make sure he's dead, it's like, what are you doing? Run away. So I thought it was interesting that they were in a car, but they just kept driving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth right over him until his body was crumbling. But he is a creature, so I guess I was like, yeah, you would want to stay to make sure he dies instead of just getting the hell out of
Oh,
there.
yeah. Totally. Also, like they shot him a whole bunch of times, or I think somebody shot him. The cops shot him, and nothing
The
happened.
cat lady shot him at least once.
The
And he
cat lady
also
shot
got
him,
ran
too.
over by the car. And
Well, yeah.
like
They didn't pop his head though.
Should have
You always
squished
gotta
it.
do a headshot.
Pop his head like a watermelon. I wanted them to squish it with the car wheel like a watermelon. I was like, if you didn't squish it like a watermelon, then sorry, honey, he's coming back to life. That's just the rules. Even though his leg chopped off.
What's her
I-
name? Not Giselle.
Trisha?
She said that
Oh.
he ate so many hearts that his will never stop beating, or something like that. So she had
That's a
quite a
great
way with
line.
words.
I also, well, psychics do have that skill. I think that's innately
Mhm.
something that
I
happens
agree.
with psychics. Also, I had subtitles on for this, rare for me, but when Jeeper got out of his Be Eaten mobile, or whatever,
Be
I think
Eaten.
it was that, whatever it was, and he's walking up to the police station, it was like gushes, leg gushes or something, gushing sounds, and I was like, oh God, oh,
Some
disgusting.
squishy
That's what
stuff.
happens when you walk on a stump, I guess.
Sure.
But another kill I really liked was that one poor cop that went like second, I guess, the second cop to go in this last scene
In the
where his
hallway.
heart got eaten out of his back and you could see the light through his chest. Sick.
Yeah. Apparently, when Jeeper ate one of the inmates, and his hand got crunched away, you could see that there was a tattoo that had started on his hand and continued onto his forearm, I guess. And then upstairs in the interrogation room, when Jeeper puts his hand against the glass so that he can be hand to hand basically with Trish, you can see that the tattoo's on his hand now. Which has some interesting implications for that belly button rose to live on, perhaps.
Wow. Disturbing.
I hope he has it.
He
in the
wanted his
sequels.
peepers, Chelsea. So
Yes, but if there is a belly button rose tattoo to be
Jeepers.
had,
Creepers, where'd you get that
Get
belly
those
button tattoo?
I think that Jeeper is an aficionado of human culture. He loves a vanity plate. He loves an abandoned human area. He's not out here carving up like a little den in the woods out of dirt like an animal. I think he would absolutely collect a tattoo. And I also think he has a different song. Like, I think he goes into the archives and finds a different song for each body part that he consumes when he has time to properly do his ritual. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you're a creature on the go. But when Jeeper has it his way, like in the beginning, when he ate that guy's lungs or whatever, maybe, I think he would have loved, like, perhaps a little Jordan Sparks, How You Gonna Breathe with No Aya, you know what I mean?
Tell me
Something
how
like
you
that.
Breathe with no
Yeah, I think he would love to find a little thematic tune for whatever his meal is. This one just
That's
happens
true.
to
And I
be
mean,
Jeepers Creepers.
the song itself only came up because, well, actually, no, he's the one who's playing it in the end. He loves that song.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's because of the psychic, the beautiful psychic lady. But no,
she's
it's
only playing it because she saw
that's
him
his
play it.
fucking jam. That's
Unless it's one
Jeepers'
of those,
jam.
like,
That's his namesake.
cyclical, what you predict you ensure happens, you know what I mean? You try to thwart the prediction. That's what brings it full circle. What's
I
that
know.
called? Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes. Oh, I love that psychic lady, and I love that she like really tries to help, but she like literally has nothing that can help. Like Giselle's like, also her middle name in the movie canonically is gay. Just saying.
Yeah, love that for
I
her.
know.
Hartman. Love that
What a queen.
canon. She's lesbian.
What an icon.
But yeah, she's just like, yeah, one of you is gonna die.
But I don't know
what
which
you can do
one.
can fix that.
Well,
But she did know.
she
She
just wouldn't
totally
say.
did knew. She just didn't want to say
Say.
and freak one of them out, you know. It's the whole like, can you choose your fate thing? Wow, we're contemplating deep
Do you
things
want
here
to
with
know how
Jeeper.
you'll die? I mean,
No, I do not want to know.
a quick answer from Monica.
I really don't want to know. I've thought about this a lot, and I don't want to know because then I don't want to know.
Sure.
But I love that she is just there, and she's like, I don't know what happens to me, and Jeeper like gives her a big old sniffing, and he's like, no, you're chill. You just keep on doing you, hun.
Okay, here's the thing. She immediately prays instead of like freaking out, and then he leaves her alone, and she tells us like he needs something certain in the smell of fear. And then I was just gonna be like, whatever, she's religious, but then at the end, I felt like it didn't like zoom in on Trisha's big old cross necklace, but I felt that the cross necklace
Yeah.
was very prominently featured in that shot. I'm wondering if there's like Christian lore at play here. You know what I mean?
I
Especially,
think there's a read for that. I
Yeah.
hate that,
Like-
but like they always do that shit.
Mhm. And Giselle says he's like a demon or a devil or something. And IMDb trivia suggested that the whole every 23 years for 23 days thing was also vaguely biblical because 2 divided by 3 as a fraction is 0.666666 repeating.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely think there is something to that, but I'm not sure how I feel about him being the devil. But I guess, there's lots of demons in the Bible, probably. I haven't read it
Probably legit.
recently.
Good. I think it's a demon thing. I don't think he's not bright red, you know? Can't be the devil. Come on, Chelsea.
Yeah, you're so right. I've seen Powerpuff Girls.
Come on. um Also, this whole time we've been doing this episode, I've had IMDb up and I've just had Jonathan Breck, the guy who plays Jeeper himself,
Mhm.
staring at me from my computer screen. And
Oh.
he's so handsome. In comparison to Jeeper.
Do you know
The
what?
prosthetic makeup is just beautiful.
I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking about it. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
I was thinking about this earlier, and then I was just glancing at my notes again, and I saw it again. Jeepers Creepers as an expression started because people were saying it instead of Jesus Christ, because you're not supposed to take the Lord's name in vain if you're a nice Christian, which is why people go like Jeepers Creepers or like Jiminy Cricket. But then Jiminy Cricket became a Disney thing,
An actual cricket.
yeah, and so people stopped using it without thinking about the
Wow.
cricket. But yeah, that's where it came from in the first place. So
JC.
there's definitely Christian stuff going on here. Hard to
JC
divorce it.
Chazé.
Day.
Yep. Wow. Okay. That's actually Brill. I think there is a religious component here. God, of course. Ugh. Just let us have a weird mandible man and leave it at that. But of course, they bring religion into it.
There's a lot of Christianity in horror as a genre, which is so interesting. I mean, it makes sense, like origins of good and evil, etc. Blah blah blah. Not really my thing, but sure.
I'll watch it. Some of them, not all of them. But yeah, I think that the end of this movie is really, really interesting because like that long-winded part where like Jeeper has Derry in his clutches and he's kind of choking him out. And Trish is like so like passionately trying to convince him to switch places. It was like almost like out of place feeling compared to the rest of the movie where everything's so silly and crazy and she's just being like, take me instead. I'm serious. And it's like a whole minute.
I won't
It's like a
fight
long
you.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it's beautiful brother and sister love. Is that what it's like?
I can't say I've ever been in that position where I have been trying to
okay.
sacrifice my life for my brothers, but I'm also the baby sibling, so it would be his job to do that for me.
Very true.
But there are a lot of things I would do for my brother. I don't know that I would volunteer my life. I guess we'd have to see. But I like him. There's a lot I would do to keep him around. So I can see where she's coming from.
Yeah. Oh man. But it's faded. I mean, if it's gonna be about peepers and it's between Trish and Derry, it's gonna be Derry's peepers that Jeeper is going for. It's not even intelligible, but yes, I think that Derry has such big, beautiful eyes, Justin Long, my boy. That it makes sense.
You know
but I think that
something
this, like-
weird? Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
what? No.
Something
was
weird
gonna, like,
that I
keep
read on
asking.
IMDb trivia, and I didn't check this for myself, so somebody could have made this up, but I don't think, probably not. Apparently, the actress who plays Trish has green eyes, and she had green eyes in the start of the film, but by the end of the movie, they made her eyes brown so that she would be linked more to her brother's character. Like, look, they're similar after all, is like what somebody put on IMDb trivia, which is like, what? But I mean, then Jeeper literally steals his eyes, and like you see the reveal that Jeeper has brown eyes now. So like, I don't know. And then Jeeper has the hand moment with the sister basically being like, we're both gonna have brown eyes soon, I guess. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know.
I don't know what that's about.
I thought that final reveal though was so awesome. It was so silly, but it was just like this whole movie was a setup for a joke, and then here's the joke paying off, and it fucking works. I was really mad right before the end though, because I was like, okay, Trish, like go to the school with a bunch of people and try to save him, but he was somewhere else. I
Yeah,
guess.
because
He
the
was in
church
a
burned
warehouse
down.
now. I know. His Sistine Chapel body.
He had to go find.
like
I mean, I think he
devastating.
probably regularly starts a new lair. You know what I mean? Like if he's been around
He's
since
probably got a few.
the medieval ages, there's
of
no way
course.
there's a medieval ages worth of bodies in
He
that
committed
one.
the Roanoke massacre or whatever, Roanoke disappearance. Then he's got.
That's not even Florida. You know, that's a different area of
Yeah,
the United States. Like he's traveling.
Exactly. Yeah, he's all over the town. But it was so good that zoom in on the belly button right at the end, and then boom, those eyes, those peepers. It was
Not just the
so good.
eye,
I
the
was
way the whole
laughing
back
so
of his
hard.
skull is gone. You see
like a
straight
mask.
through.
Yes, it was horrifying. He ate his brain too. Maybe, I don't know. It's
He
so.
needed it
I
all.
love that. I loved it. I love that ending. I was like guffawing. I like screamed not out of terror but out of joy at the end. But that brings us to our segments, and so we have to ask, how could this movie be gayer? And I would say for 2001 we got a couple of gay references in there. They
We
say
did.
gay like in the first 4 minutes.
One of the first lines, gay forever.
Exactly, gay forever.
And then he goes,
That
that
felt like
one's me. So
representation
I
to me.
think that line really said a lot. To me, he goes, I'm gay forever and you're sexy forever. I'm willing to accept that.
I think that Derry could definitely be gay, and that could explain a lot about his belly button tattoo.
Sure.
And why Jeeper was so into him, because Jeeper also gay.
Mhm. Jeeper also confirmed gay. Jeeper making out with that cop head passionately, and he was like, "Okay, well, now I gotta eat this
feel
tongue because I
like-
do need to speak."
I feel like Jeeper is probably pan.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't discriminate.
Doesn't discriminate.
He's open to anything, and we love that about him. Well, okay, he's not open to anything. Once he smells your fear, and
Or
it's,
if he
it's
doesn't smell your
compatible with
fear.
his vibe,
Mhm.
then he's down.
Oh wait, one more thing about the eye stuff. I did check this one, but somebody on IMDb trivia pointed out that in one of the first shots that we see of Trish in the beginning, when she's in the car, she's holding a pair of reading glasses. So if Jeeper needed a new set of peepers, he would probably want the ones that are at peak capacity, maximum skill, rather than the ones that need help already.
So true. He knows what he's doing.
So
Yeah,
he's
not
a
gonna get
thinker, that Jeeper.
someone with like a shitty heart or lungs or something. He's going for the cream of the crop.
But why
okay,
wouldn't you
any
not eat
other
the psychic's
gay-
eyes then? Because clearly she's seeing things. Wouldn't
in
you
her
want
brain.
to
It's
see?
dreams.
That's true.
It's while she's asleep.
I
That
guess.
would be her brain. But also, he doesn't want to be plagued by nightmares as she
Sure.
is. It's a
She
curse,
seems. She's
as
like,
well as a gift.
you think I
Chelsea?"
want this? Yeah.
Exactly. She's plagued by it.
She's
She has
gay,
to go
though,
all
to
around the
get back
town in
to-
the middle of the night.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's gay. Her middle name
Her
is
middle
gay.
name is
Gay.
Gay.
Hey, I'm Giselle Gay Hartman. You know why they call me gay, right? It's because I'm gay. That's the line that she said. They cut that from the movie.
Crazy. Should have left it in.
I know, it was very on the nose. Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything enough about anyone else to call them, to enter them into the community, but I think it's pretty all around.
I think
Cast.
the
And
couple,
also-
the sexy forever RV couple, they're swingers.
Oh, I love
Mm,
that for them.
Yeah, 100%.
They're sexy forever. I mean, come on.
They're sexy forever. Also, Trish in her like tank top and her jeans.
Mm-hmm.
Something was happening there. I feel
Yeah.
like
I mean, they do
She didn't-
explicitly mention an ex-boyfriend for her, but they hint that it was a toxic, unhealthy, potentially violent relationship. So I would love if she had a girlfriend next, someone who can really make her feel supported and safe, maybe.
totally. I love that for her. Wow, it's a fully queer cast except for the cops, which I'm not going to go into. The cat lady probably,
If we're buying into
That's-
stereotypes, I mean, come on.
hmm
I sit
Or
here
she
with my
just-
cat in my
Her
lap.
cat on top of her, yeah.
Or she just isn't into that at all, and she just loves her cats.
She
And
could be
she's fully
asexual.
fulfilled by her cat friendships.
Ace
We
representation.
love that for her. Yeah. Okay, well then that brings us into where would Matthew Lillard fit into this film? Oh, he could have been Jeeper, man. He would have been a great Jeeper. I would
He
love to
would've.
see his face, but I also would love to see him be Jeeper with mandibles.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie with mandibles.
I think that instead of him, like, what if it was like a real person who was just like possessed by the spirit of Jeeper and he had to like do it, and then Maddie was the person who then gets possessed by the spirit and starts killing people.
Ooh.
Interesting. Or if he has like a
He
little
could-
human servant who's like luring the people back or something.
Like a Renfield, yeah. I
a
think
little
that,
Easter egg for a few weeks from now.
I think that Maddie would have been a really good hot cop, because remember they made that joke about the initial
Oh, the strippergram
dude
cop.
and they're like, oh, he looks like he's a stripper cop. Well, Maddie is also a very attractive man.
He could have been driving the sexy forever RV.
Oh yeah, would have
Could've.
loved that.
I don't want to take Justin Long out of this movie because I love him so much. I love Justin Long. But he could have been. He could have gone right in there. This was in his Shaggy era, and so he was.
Oh, that would have been great.
And he could rock a
It could've
belly button
worked.
tattoo, I bet.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or
Mhm.
instead of a brother or sister, it could have been two best friends.
And one's Matthew Lillard.
Or
and
two
they're gay.
brothers. They specifically did siblings so that they wouldn't have to worry about people getting invested in a romance and they could just focus on Jeeper as the main storyline.
They could be two fraternity brothers.
Two bros out on the town. They were
Paddling
innately
each other
sexual
on the butt
tensions
and
then.
doing little high fives and
Going to spring break on the beach and getting lost because it was 2001 and we didn't have Google Maps. You still had to read a literal paper map. And
Get
who
out
knows
the
how to do
fucking
that?
Thomas Guide. For Gen Z, that will be very confusing. It was a
I
book
don't
that
even
you
know what
kept in
that
your
is.
Car. It was a book that you kept in your car, and it had maps in it, and you would look at that. You can learn about it if you watch VHS. They use it in VHS to try to find the house party in the one house party vignette. Anyway, to relate it back to horror, to relate it back to your world that you can understand. Okay, that's Matthew Lillard. That brings us to the dumb bitch, and it's Derry.
Yeah.
don't slide down the pipe. What are you doing? Even if you insist on pulling over and looking in the pipe, why are you getting into the pipe? That's a bad
He's
plan.
hurting.
But
He could hurt
also,
his
that's
little
none of your
belly with his
business.
beautiful tattoo. If he's slithering down a metal pipe, he's not thinking about the beautiful artwork on his belly, and it's all about that, as we know.
Yeah, I mean, there's just really is not much else to say. He is such a dumb bitch. Did he deserve to get
Thank
snatched up by Jeeper? No, but did he put himself in Jeeper's way after they had already escaped Jeeper? Yes.
Yes. Damn it, Derry, you beautiful son of a bitch. You're an idiot. You're a dumb bitch.
But we love
okay.
ya.
But we love you. That brings us to our knives out of 5s. So what was the critical reception for Jeepers Creepers?
Well, what's interesting, critical reception aside, this movie did really well in the sense that when it came out, it like made the most that a movie had made debuting over Labor Day weekend, at least until the second one came out, and also then made the most a movie had made coming out Labor Day weekend.
Listen,
No.
middle schoolers love Jeepers Creepers, unfortunately.
But I mean, on IMDb, it did a fair amount better than it did on Rotten Tomatoes, actually. But on IMDb, this movie has a 6.2 out of 10. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 46% rotten from critics and 49% rotten from audiences. So it made a fair amount of money. But I mean, nobody thought it was like that great necessarily.
Fair.
Me either.
Yeah, I mean,
You go first, Sydney, or you, Chelsea.
I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. It's tainted. It's not as good as I remember it from when I was 12, but most things don't hold up. But it still has like really funny moments. I do love that they added some true crime references in there. The monster is just the monster. I was just so annoyed that everybody, like even the cops, didn't do anything. They just stood there. And I was like, okay, I get
He's
that this is a valid trauma
uncomfortable,
response, but like,
Sydney.
I don't want to be trapped with you in a scary movie. Know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
these are
Totally.
all of the people that I don't want to be in a horror movie with are in this horror movie.
Amazing.
okay, a thought unrelated that I just had, I'm sorry, but I don't want to end the episode without saying it, is like, okay, Jeeper really wanted his eyes. Jeeper chased them on the road, smelled their fear, decided Jeeper was okay to leave them alone and let them go until they doubled back. And Derry went down into the lair. Did he have to take Derry's eyes because Derry had seen his home? And Trish hadn't,
Possibly.
and that's why. I don't know, just throwing that out there. Anyway,
Hmm.
back to Knives. I was entertained by this movie. I was not invested in this movie. I think Monica had the exact right word when she said guffaw. I too guffawed a couple of times watching this film. I think it's interesting that the creature design kind of has some stuff in common with the Cloverfield creature design in some ways, a little bit. That
Weird
said,
mouth.
it was giving me more like Leprechaun than it was anything else. And I think it plot-wise, it borrowed a little too much from other things for me to really like be blown away by any originality here. I think it is very middle of the road. Like the script wasn't that strong. The acting was fine, but not like incredible. But I mean, it's hard to have amazing acting if you don't have a
Long
really.
that you said that.
No, he did a good job, but it's hard to have like nuanced acting when the script is not necessarily supporting it. I just think it was like a very straightforward film for the most part, but so much of it seemed to be the same as it, which those movies came out only a few years before. I'm not sure when the book came out. I just think you lose points for that. But I'll give it like a 3 Knives as well.
Fair. I think I'm gonna give this one a 3.5 because this is a movie that is just for me. Because I had such a good time. It's so stupid. I love how stupid it is. I love how silly it is. I also think that I wish I had seen this before seeing Barbarian because I feel like parts of this are informative to Justin Long's traversing into the underground in Barbarian, you
Sure.
know? And I
And
feel
the
like
old
it's like
school
kind of like a
song
little wink
references.
homage. Totally. I was wondering, this is probably, I don't know, it's definitely not the first, but I feel like this is what an effective use of an old song. They do that now for everything. The old song being the creepy thing. But this is from 2001, so I don't know if this started to set the scene, but they did a really good job, and they leaned all the way fucking in to the song. They named the movie after it, so I love that. And I love that song. It's so stupid and weird. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was preposterous. I thought it was so funny. I thought that it didn't make any sense, and I agree with you, Sydney. These people didn't do jack shit so many of the times. Like that part where Justin Long does the jump scare onto the car when Trisha's in the car, and he like jumps and he like hits the window and he just stays there for like 10 minutes. I get that he is horrified, but like everything was that reaction, just the frozen in space, the deer in the headlights sort of thing. So that was frustrating. But that said, I thought it was just perfectly preposterous. It's not a great movie, but I'm so glad that we covered it. It was just what I wanted it to be. When we were discussing our plan for the rest of this month, we've got some like hard hitters coming up later on in the month. And I was like, oh, our next movie has to be super funny or something to like level it out because Jeepers Creepers is really scary. JK. I did not know what I was talking about. But yeah, 3.5 knives out of 5 for me.
Well, I know Monica just said we didn't have to do something silly next after all, but that's too bad because we are. Because
We're
next
silly
up,
girls.
we're just some silly girls. Next up, we are doing a movie that I don't think any of us have actually seen before, but I saw on Tumblr that it has great OT3 potential, so I'm very excited about it. It is 1988's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And I think just as a title, that's very promising. So I can't wait.
I've seen at least 20 minutes of this movie and it was very interesting. And so I'm sure we're going to have a really good time talking about it.
I've seen something from space, but I don't think it was clowns. It was like the
Mm.
other kooky.
Oh, are you thinking Leprechaun 6 in space? That must be it.
No. And we already
Murderous
saw
Mimes from Outer Space, maybe.
no.
Oh, yes, of course.
It's like the weird aliens that have like the brains in the jars.
Oh, Mars Attacks?
Yeah, that's the one that I've seen.
Bro, we got to do that on the pod.
Yeah, that
That
one
is-
Max.
That slaps. But we're doing Killer Clowns on Earth. Well, keeping the theme of space-related weird shit, here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. But yeah, why not take a moment and write a review that's 5 stars for us? I promise that if I do call it out on the podcast, it will be nice instead of when I was aggressive towards Claire. But Claire and I, we're good. We're good, right, Claire? We're fine. So it's going to be fine for you too. Just give us 5 stars. We would love that.
You could even
and why not?
suggest other Halloween costumes for Monica and Adam.
Yes, Monica's always
Ooh.
open for suggestions.
I'm always open to suggestion. Thank you for saying that.
She's got to plan ahead.
Uh,
I mean, Halloween is
I
only
know.
6
It's
months
her
away.
thing.
I know it's about to be the 6-month mark till Halloween, so it's never too early to start planning. But anyway, why not also follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We're also like and subscribe. We're also on Tumblr and Facebook at Spooky Tuesday Pod, and we're on Letterboxd at Spooky Tuesday. And so I will say to you, see you next Tuesday.
Hey, spookies.
She don't smell too good. There he is.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.